it's like, yo, do these celebrities' opinions matter now? Like, do they really matter?
We live?
We live.
We live. Welcome back to the Opinion Factory podcast, the podcast for free thinkers and challenge seekers.
Yes, sir.
I'm Khelil.
I'm Alex. And recently, man, your favorite rapper's been making waves again.
Hobson?
Your boy Kanye. Kanye West, man. So, like a year ago, he was like slavery was a choice. Absolute nonsense, right? And then recently, this past week, he said that Harriet Tubman didn't free any slaves, right?
That she just transported the slaves over for other white people.
And stay with me here for a second. Stay with me for a second. It's not.
All right.
I'm not here to talk about Kanye's weird obsession with slavery or whatever. Not talking about that.
You think there's an obsession there?
I don't know why he keeps talking about it. What I am here to talk about is that these celebrities with platforms just saying nonsense that really just impacts the culture in a very negative way. Impacts our society in a negative way.
Right, because the fact that he said that and that he's Kanye, there's a good amount of people who's going to believe it.
It doesn't only have to be Kanye. It could be freaking Taylor Swift. It can be
You think
Rihanna.
so?
It could be Rihanna. It could be any of these celebrities that it's like when you have a platform as big as they have, right?
It's like that lady who told people that drinking Clorox would like cure COVID-19 or
Exactly,
something like
right,
that.
exactly.
Because she had a big platform. People tried it. I think people died.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like these type of things where I'm kind of at this point where like I don't want to be too cynical here, but it's like, yo, do these celebrities' opinions matter now? Like, do they really matter?
To be honest, I mean, when they speak on things like Black Lives Matter, right? We know that they may have been affected by it in the past. Of course, if you're from the slums, obviously.
Yeah.
By, being black, obviously. But then they're not really affected by it in the day-to-day anymore, maybe not as much as we are. Maybe in the industry, I don't know much about the industry, right? But when they speak on it, do you feel like they're coming from a place where they really like understand what people are going through? Like in that moment, their opinions would matter, right?
It would depend. I mean, like, it depends on the celebrity, but if you have say you have like a LeBron James who grew up poor,
right,
and then he became rich,
right, then
I might take his opinion with more validity when it comes to like black inequality or that type of stuff.
Exactly.
As versus to, I don't know, like any other celebrity, like freaking
who was born rich.
Yeah, like a Grant Hill. I'm naming basketball people. Right? A Grant Hill who was born rich and had he didn't have those day-to-day problems that a large majority of us have, right? Like, am I gonna go up to freaking like would I expect like Donald Trump to understand the struggles of not being able to pay rent? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
Like what validity does his word have when he's talking to me?
But when it comes to
any of these rich politicians, for that matter.
But here's the thing: Kanye has proven himself before to be a smart guy. Like before like in his music, right? Like the things
just because you make
like
good music,
Kanye, like the things that he does with his beats, his lyrics.
I don't want to talk about, man.
That's what I'm saying. The past,
he makes good music. Doesn't mean you're smart.
But it implies
just because you dribble a basketball doesn't mean you're smart. Just because you have a TV show doesn't mean you're smart.
Dribbling the basketball is not the same as making quality music. With good lyrics.
I don't want to hear this, man.
And that's assuming he wrote his own songs.
Somebody makes music means they're smart. That's not how it works.
I mean,
you know, make a good song.
That could be.
No, you know, make a good song.
If you can consistently make good lyrics and you become famous for that.
The lyrics, the reason why he was so.
And you can still make good beats.
If you make good music, it does not mean you're smart, man.
It does not mean you're smart. But I'm talking about Kanye specifically.
Do you know there's rumors? Do you know there's rumors that R. Kelly can't read?
Yeah, I've seen that.
R. Kelly, you could say R. Kelly made I Believe I Can Fly. He made Something in the Name of Love.
Those aren't really lyrical songs.
He made Ignition. Like those songs.
Those aren't really like.
That's not the point, man. The point is he made great songs.
You can tell. If you listen to certain rappers, you can tell they're smart, bro. Listen to Jordan Lucas. You gonna tell me that guy's not smart?
We're losing the plot. We're losing the plot here.
Because you're trying to take down my premise. I'm saying that he's proven in the past. I think personally that
I don't think because
he has a good head on his shoulders. Maybe he's not a genius.
I don't think because you make good music makes you a smart person. That's what I'm saying. And it goes back to
I think that given Kanye's old track record of consistently making good songs, good lyrics, good beats, all that himself, he has a good head on his shoulders. And that might just be because he wasn't making all those controversial statements. He might have believed those things in the past.
It's not about Kanye. I don't want to focus on Kanye.
But anyways, because a lot of people may have believed that he's shown himself to have a good head on his shoulders, that would lend validity to his opinions now. That's my point. Because to a lot of people, he's proven himself to be a critical thinker. He has a good head on his shoulders. And now he's saying Harriet Tubman didn't really feel those slaves. You're not gonna think, well,
how did you get that? How did you get that much from a person making music? This is where I'm like really struggling. The person made some songs. He made some hits. Great.
Do you think?
Great. That's great for him.
Let me just ask you this question.
What?
Obviously, you don't know everything about the person, but if you had to assume, right, would you say someone like Ice JJ Fish or Future is as of a critical thinker as, say, Joyner Lucas, Eminem, or Kendrick?
One, I don't know why we keep going down the lane with rappers. One. Two,
Kanye's a rapper, so that's what I'm using.
Linking Ice JJ Fish with Future is wildly disrespectful. I'm not gonna let you get away with
Is
that.
it though?
It's.
Is it though?
Oh Lord. Right. Three, I'm not gonna assume anyone's IQ based off the music they make.
No, you can't.
One,
do that.
I don't know who wrote those songs. Two, I don't know who produced the
Absolutely.
beats. You make your songs. It does not mean you. And just because you make music, right? Whether it's Kanye West, whether it's Taylor Swift, whether it's Beyonce, whether it's Katy Perry, it does not mean the weight behind your words mean any more than anybody else's. And it seems over time that celebrities have consistently proven to be wildly out of touch with average people.
That I agree with. So let's stick on that because I don't want to go back and forth on the previous point. Let's stick on that.
This is what I'm saying. It seems time after time after time they're saying nonsensical things, and it's like, yo, what are you talking about? Like what? Like really, what are you talking about?
And I still believe that their past has to do with that. You can't. If they weren't celebrities,
they're famous because, like you said, Kanye West is not famous for any of his freaking poetry or whatever. He's famous because he made good music that people liked. That's why he's famous. Taylor Swift is famous because she makes music that people like. Katy Perry, Beyonce, LeBron James is famous, because he plays a sport that people watch.
But you can't deny
the same thing with Tom Brady or Peyton Manning.
But you can't deny the fact that you can. All right, even if you're famous for something,
success does not equal knowledge or intelligence.
Telling me, bro? You telling me?
I'm just saying.
You telling me?
People.
Future's famous. Ice JJ Fish got famous.
I'm not. No, this Future slander is gonna stop right now. This is not what we're doing. Absolutely.
There's a lot of talentless people got famous. Future
slander is not.
There's a lot of talentless people got famous.
Talent does not make you smart. This is what I'm trying to say.
Yes, and there's a lot of smart people who should be famous who aren't. Of course.
That's okay.
Of course, I'm not disagreeing with that.
Okay.
But I'm saying, you're saying that their opinions maybe should just be disregarded. Even if they are celebrities, but I'm saying that because they've had a big platform, they've made statements before.
Yeah.
Statements that you very well could have agreed with.
Yes.
Right? And so maybe not based on their music you think they're smart. Let's not go down that route, right? But let's go based on, everyone got a Twitter these days. Everyone's tweeting tweets, posting Instagram captions, stuff like that. They could have been speaking on issues before.
They could have.
Kanye went on TV and said George Bush doesn't like black people. We're all clapping. Like, yo, you're a critical thinker. You got the good head on your shoulders, right? And so now, when he's saying some reckless stuff,
is that critical thinker or is that just a common thought because of how he handled Hurricane Katrina? I mean, I don't think that's really critical thinking.
Not to us, not to black people. I think to a lot of people who didn't really grow up like we did, they may say, well, how do you think George Bush hates black people because of how he handled Hurricane Katrina? It's like Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter. I don't want to get into that. Like, you would think it's simple. It's simple to us. But anyways. He made statements before that we agreed with, that we thought, he can see shit that's obvious, at least.
Okay, and I wasn't putting, the problem that I'm saying is, because Kanye said it, now it's true. It was never that type of mindset where, because Kanye said it, now it must be true.
No,
I feel like
you and I feel that way.
I feel like a lot of people in our society, it's like a celebrity lends their voice to something, it becomes more important, which is okay because they have a large platform.
Yes.
But now we're hanging on to words that are necessarily true, and no, they're not.
I'm agreeing with you.
And this is the problem. This is what I'm saying. Over time, like Kanye West has shown over time, he is not who you thought he was.
Yeah.
Whether it's because he's mentally ill or whatever. Maybe he's just clout. Well, it doesn't matter. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with all these other celebrities.
But I don't want to go down the route of saying we should just not listen to their opinions.
Yes. Laura Ingraham said famously, she told LeBron to shut up and dribble. Right?
Yes.
I don't want to go down the route that, everyone should have a voice. You're American. Everyone has a voice. Everyone has a right to speak. I'm
not saying about the right to speak. You're talking about lending credence to their opinions, or like giving some validity to their claims. Just offer it to say you have no validity. Is that what you're?
No, I'm saying everyone has the right to express their opinion.
Yeah, but I'm saying you have that right, but just that's different from saying you have the right. Is different from saying what you're saying has validity to it.
Yeah, I'm not saying that.
But I could have sworn you said that maybe we should just not be listening to these opinions.
Yes, but they still have the right to give that opinion.
Exactly. I'm not talking about the right to give it, but I'm saying that.
That's what I just said. That's what
I'm agreeing with you on that part.
Yeah. What?
But what I'm saying is we shouldn't just be saying that we should just not believe we should just not listen to their opinions.
Let me continue.
Continue.
All right.
Go ahead.
It's like I was saying, Laura Ingraham. Some people shut up and dribble if they don't agree with them or whatever. I don't want to go down that road. But I also don't want to be on this, like, I'm saying over time, whether it's Kanye's statement or whoever's statement it may be, right? Over time, these people have shown to be out of touch and cannot relate to the problems that we have as average people. As average people, which has a job, who pays their bills, has a family, whatever, they cannot relate to those issues. They do not face those issues on a day-to-day basis anymore. And maybe they used to. And there are a good amount that didn't grow up the way they were rich. Like, they didn't grow up a celebrity or no one in their family was a celebrity. Cool.
Rappers rap about that all the time.
Cool. But after they got to that level, it's not like they forgot about it. But now it seems they can't relate anymore. So maybe some of them can relate. They could relate. But it's like, how many people have you seen get famous and they're like, oh, I did through all hard work and determination and da.
Pull myself on my bootstraps.
I'm like, that's cool for you, buddy. But that does not work for everybody. There's plenty of people who work hard. There's plenty of people who've sacrificed, made ultimate sacrifices, and they're still at the levels they were before they did all that.
Yeah, you need hard work and opportunity. Without opportunity,
it's like, even with simple statements like that, it's like, how do you expect me to take your opinion seriously if you've shown you're so out of touch? Like, when's the last time you had to worry about paying a light bill? Or when's the last time you had to worry about things that, like, where my kids gonna go for daycare? Like, if you can't relate to these problems, and now you're caping for, like, people like me, I'm going to just take that with a little grain of salt, and I'm going to inspect what you're saying more to see if you have any ulterior motives.
Yes. But I don't think there's a lot of celebrities, to be fair, like, trying to relate to common problems no more, though. Am I missing something here? Do you have any examples?
Yes. All these celebrities that go on, especially the ones that are very openly political. Right, whether it's like your Brett Favre's on one side or your LeBron James on another side, where they're going and lending their voices to political platforms.
Yeah, but those are things that affect them. Like Black Lives Matter would affect a celebrity as well.
That could, but they're also talking about taxes and those type of things. Where it's like, why should I be listening to someone who's at this tax bracket? And not understanding how the money affects all of us, not just you at the top 1% or whatever. Well, that's what I'm saying. Especially when it comes to money issues like that. Like, those people who can't relate to us, how much value should I give their opinion on money or those type of things when it's about things like taxes?
Well, obviously you're not going to give value to their opinion until you validate that they know what they're talking about. But the importance of them speaking up on those things, even if it doesn't affect them, is that now they're bringing awareness that we ourselves couldn't bring to this thing, as I'm sure you know.
Yes,
so if we lend our support to that voice.
A great example of that is Ashton Kutcher. Right? Ashton Kutcher has done a lot of work with sex trafficking. Right? The sex trafficking crisis in the United States and around the world. Like, he had like a really famous video where he was, I believe, in Congress. And like, he had like a sign like, real men don't buy girls and all that type of stuff. Like, he's cape for that. And that's a great example of a celebrity using their platform
to speak on things that doesn't personally affect them.
Yes.
Right.
He could just. But there's also
But
if we go the opposite direction, it can also be very dangerous, where you have someone like Jenny McCarthy, who championed a complete movement that vaccines cause autism.
Who did that?
Jenny McCarthy, the actress and former Playboy model.
Is that the Weight Watchers chick?
She might have been Weight Watchers too. I'm not too sure. But then you also had this false claim that vaccines cause autism. There's nothing wrong with having skepticism about vaccines.
Right.
Like would you take the first COVID vaccine? I personally said I wouldn't take the first COVID vaccine because it's rushed.
I'm good.
It's rushed. I'm not taking that first COVID vaccine.
I think they're only going to give it to people who have no choice.
I mean, maybe so, but I'm not going to take the first COVID vaccine. This is way the regular protocol for vaccines, and they're rushing it so fast and rushing. Nah, I'm not going to get hit with those side effects. Yeah, I don't want to be throwing up because this first wave and affects me negatively. That's cool.
And that's because you looked at the facts.
Yes, but it's also when you have this false claim that they're directly causing autism, especially when you have so many kids that didn't have vaccinations. And this is the thing I'm saying. So especially because they're celebrities. I'm saying take it with a grain of salt. Should we be holding these people to a higher standard? Because what I'm saying is I'm going the way of you're out of touch with me. You don't really know what you're talking about. Blah blah blah.
As any normal person should do. That's why I'm thinking they're not the problem.
I'm not.
We are. Kanye could speak out his ass as much as he wants.
Yeah.
If people believe him, that's their fault. If anyone now believes that Harriet Tubman did not free slaves and just move them to other white people, it's your fault. I'm not gonna call any names, right? It makes me upset that you believe that, but that's not. You can't blame Kanye for that. You literally did not learn your history, and now you believe in what this man is saying just because he's Kanye.
What if they didn't learn their history though? What if they didn't teach about Harriet Tubman in schools?
Learn your history. And
now they have to go out
if Kanye came and he talked about the resistance movement that freed the island of Haiti, right? Haiti was the only island that successfully revolted and overthrew the slave masters or whatever. I don't know all the details about that. I know it was led by Toussaint, I think was his name. I don't know all the details about it. If Kanye came and said something about that, I would not believe him just because I didn't learn about this in school. If he came and said Toussaint didn't fight for Haiti, he was fighting for his white wife. I'm like, damn, I didn't even know that shit. Thanks, Kanye. Really, bro?
But what I'm saying, what if it's not Kanye though? What if Kanye has a track record that has disqualified?
Even if it was common.
But what if it was one of a really well-spoken person that has a bunch of credibility?
It could be Mark Lamont Hill. I'm not gonna
the whole it could be them. It could be what if it was just anybody that's freaking Joy Behar from The View or something, man.
I have no idea who that is.
Oh, Joe Behar?
No idea.
The View?
Nope.
Really?
Never watched an episode of that in my life. Is that Whoopi Goldberg?
Yes.
That's all I know.
Joy Behar. I think she's. You don't know Joe Behar?
No.
She's a lady from The View. If I showed it to you, you'd seen it. Or if it was freaking Meredith Vieira or whatever. What? Any of these news anchors' names, man. Tom Brokaw. I don't know.
I have no idea who these people are.
What I'm saying is, if there were people that had a platform and they had that credible history, now can I take their opinion more seriously? You're saying it's
Sean Hannity.
You're saying it's our fault.
If it's actually news anchors, that's a celebrity.
Is that a problem though? That we have celebrity journalists? Cause we've always had a couple celebrity journalists. There was Dan Rathers, the former CBS and 60 News guys.
I don't think that's a problem. Because people like having someone that they can rely on. And you can become easily, intentionally or not, someone that people rely on just by reporting good news or good facts or whatever. Or just by telling them things that they agree with, like in the case of Sean Hannity and Tucker Carlson.
Okay.
They got the #1 cable news late night show or news show, whatever, when most of what they say is not true. They will literally take a Joe Biden quote and twist it and present it as facts, and now they're popular and stuff. But again, that's on us. It is reckless for them to do that. They should be careful with their platform. But why, to your point, why does a big platform, why are we so beholden to that? Why is it that once you have a big platform, you can just change so many minds, off rip? It shouldn't be that way.
Because if you develop the level of trust with that person, right? Let's say your favorite news anchor is Don Lemon. If you develop,
let's use Chris Cuomo. I like Chris Cuomo.
We can use Chris Cuomo. We can use Tucker Carlson. Whoever. We'll use whoever you want to use. Your favorite news anchor is them, and they've told you stories that were true in the past. Mm-hmm. And now as they go forward, they're kind of veering off, pushing their agendas. But you don't know that because you've already trusted them so much.
This is what I was talking about with the Kanye thing. That he's shown himself to have a good head.
Kanye's not no news anchor. I'm not going to Kanye about anything relevant in our society.
Yes.
If it's Tucker Carlson or if it's Don Lemon or Sean Hannity or Chris Cuomo, whoever it may be.
This argument is in the same vein of that line of thought. If you trusted them before and if you trusted what they said before, you're more likely to trust them now.
I'm telling you, you should never trust Kanye's words so much because he makes music. That's why he's famous. I think why they're famous really matters here. Okay. Right?
That's a fair point.
Tucker Carlson's famous because he's a political commentator. Sean Hannity's famous because Don Lemon's famous because he's a news anchor.
Yeah, his job is to find the facts and report it.
Yes.
So you should trust
those.
That's a valid point.
Freaking Kanye West or Taylor Swift or Beyonce.
Tell that to the people who believe in him.
I think why they're famous matters though.
Yes, but tell that to the people who are believing him. They don't care.
Listen,
the fact that he's famous is enough. And I'm not saying that I think this way. I'm not saying that I'm not saying you should believe Kanye because he's shown himself to be that. I'm just trying to get into the minds of the people who are not saying, well, he has a point though. And the people who are defending his statement. I'm not seeing
people saying that regard. Oh, people were saying, oh, he technically said that, oh, he just gave other white people. I'm like, oh yeah, technically he did. Like, he didn't free any slaves. Just took, like he freed them from a slave master. Now they just go work for another white person.
And like, you were there the day that broke. What did I do? When he said that statement, what did I do?
I don't recall.
I put that in the group chat. I went and I Googled to make sure, did Harriet Tubman free any slaves? Because, hear me out. In history class, what they taught us was that Harriet Tubman led the Underground Railroad. She transported slaves who ran away to the north where they were free. Now, they never specified that she went and herself freed those slaves before transporting them. I thought she was just to transport. So I'm like, did she free anyone? Like, physically go? And she did. Her and a bunch of Union soldiers actually battled to free a whole lot of slaves. And once I found that out, then I could say Kanye West is talking out his ass. But people don't do that. People don't do that. And I think the good thing for me was that I knew enough about the subject to know that there's things that I don't know. If you knew nothing about Harriet Tubman, you wouldn't look into this. Would you?
No.
You know what I mean? So you need a baseline to even begin to question these things.
And but with Kanye, the slavery thing, it's not necessarily too relevant to what's going on right now. But if we're talking to people about, who pays taxes or what government should be doing for police reform.
Mm-hmm. Celebrities can speak on that.
They can speak on that, but I have to take. I might take your word with a grain of salt, since you might not be affected by those things. Like regular people be affected by those things.
But look, that's literally what politicians do.
I'm not saying they shouldn't be, but that's politicians' jobs, though.
Right.
It's not celebrities' jobs to do that, and politicians aren't celebrities. This is like how many who's your DA right now? Who's your district attorney?
Merrill.
Yeah, exactly. Look at you. Look at you, bro. Look at you, bro.
Merrill.
Who's the governor of Maryland?
Merrill Kennedy.
Who's the governor of Maryland?
What's his name? The one that Lindsay.
No. You see, no. Yeah, exactly. But that's exactly my point, though. Most politicians are not celebrities.
No, most of them are.
It's literally their job to craft laws.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying celebrities should have no part in this. They should have a part, or one voice, one like.
Who's our DA?
Rachel Rollins. They should have.
Shout out to Rachel.
Again, story for another day. They should be able to speak their mind, but like you said, the fact you even had to look up the Harriet Tubman thing is like.
That's a testament to how little I was taught, and I never sought more knowledge up until now.
Whose fault is that though?
That's public education's fault.
Hold on. And to get to another wider point, does this go into like a worship type thing though? Of like us just blindly following people that we admire for their musical talents or their athletic feats or their, books they've written. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like one person's gotten a lot of trouble recently, or a lot of her fans have turned on, is J.K. Rowling.
Why?
The Harry Potter author. She's done like a lot of the pandering stuff, like trying to make their characters gay after the fact, or and then she's recently called like transphobic and all that type of stuff, like trans women aren't real women, all that stuff. So a lot of her fans aren't happy with it.
Okay.
Right. So are these the people that we should just be like idolizing? Because like I feel like we idolize them after like I love Harry Potter, right?
Mm-hmm. And so obviously you're gonna love the person who made it.
Not necessarily. I like them.
I mean,
I'm happy they created it. Who made your favorite video game? Who made your favorite movie? Who made your favorite?
I know
book?
these things.
What, do you?
Yes, Dark Souls.
Who's the creator?
It starts with an M.
I know these things. I know these things. He says.
No, I know the. If you told me the name, I would say that's the guy who created Dark Souls.
My point is the same way that you may not know who created your favorite book or movie or video game.
But I'm not.
The same thing should apply to these people for athletes.
Masashi. It's a Japanese guy.
For athletes, for musical artists, for writers, actors, politicians. Like, we don't know these people, man.
That was the argument that I have with R. Kelly.
Unless they have a great track record,
that was
and
the
they
argument.
Consistently prove that track record over time.
Track record of what? Like public statements?
Public statements that are factual, that are eye-opening, that are enlightening. Unless they have a track record of that, then yeah, you can listen to them, but you just don't hold their words in reverence. And this is what I'm saying with celebrities. I feel like these people are really, when you get to a certain level of fame or status, you just become really out of touch with people.
And what is the downside of them trying to speak on issues that they're out of touch with? If they're caping for stuff that would benefit us.
They don't know if they would benefit us because they're out of touch with it. If it's something that they're out of touch with, they don't know the daily aspects of what's going on. If they don't know the details of what's going on and they're caping for it, then it could be detrimental to what they're caping for.
But if LeBron James says something as simple as tax the rich, lower rent for low income families,
that's fine.
He's not. I mean, he doesn't experience those things. I'm sure he pays taxes and has plenty of money to spare. I'm sure he doesn't worry about rent no more.
That's fine.
So that's what I'm saying.
Fine. That's a general statement.
He probably has no idea how much rent costs. But he's saying lower it.
He might not.
But he's saying lower it.
But given someone with his track record, if I look at LeBron James' track record of where he was from and how he grew up. Yes,
we're talking about his statements.
Yes. But he grew up like that, though.
But we're looking at their statements too.
We just said that it matters where they're from and how they got famous.
But you can still become out of touch.
You can't. No, you still. I'm not.
He didn't listen to $1 bill like he'd never seen that shit in his life. Yeah. I'm sure he has.
That's a story for another day. Yes, he can become out of touch, but then you also have to look at this guy has created a school for underprivileged kids in his hometown.
Right.
So it's like a person that
so not LeBron James.
But
let's use someone else.
No, but that's the whole point, though. If I look at their track record and I see they have a history of doing these type of things, now I can listen to
that's why I want to use someone who doesn't have that track record. So what if it's someone who didn't grow up like that? Let's say who was the guy on Access Hollywood with Trump, the famous white guy, Billy Bush. Let's say he said, "Tax the rich, lower rent."
Okay.
I'm not sure if Billy Bush ever struggled with rent in his life. I don't know. Maybe he did. Just because he's white doesn't mean he didn't, right? But let's say he didn't. Let's say he didn't. Okay. If he said that, would you shut up, you know what you're talking about?
No. I wouldn't.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Even if you're out of touch with it, even if you never experienced it, it's not inherently a bad thing to speak on things that you're out of touch on.
Yes, and then it goes to the point where, if you agree with it, then yeah, they can talk all they want. If you don't agree with it, then shut the hell up. I don't want to go down that road.
But that's naturally what we would do. If a celebrity came out and said all lives matter, naturally you say shut the hell up, or you think that.
Okay.
And a lot of celebrities came out saying Black Lives Matter, and naturally a lot of people said shut the hell up, you don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. I mean, it
depends on what you agree with and what you don't agree with.
It is, but
as well.
What I want to get at is, though, if a person says one thing that's wrong or right, or that you perceive as wrong or right, doesn't mean you should necessarily just shut them out the equation. It just says I should just not revere your words with such gravity.
Or I can understand that I should take what you're saying. Yeah. You know I was listening to what you just said. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like even if they don't, even if someone disagrees with me, right? I can disagree with freaking Tucker Carlson or Sean Hannity, even if I disagree with them. If those two individuals specifically have proven to give fair and good talking points, which I'm not saying they did at all. Mm-hmm. But if they've shown they've done that, then yeah, I can listen to what they're saying. Because not only that, even if they're out of touch, they've shown that they could talk about this in an intellectual capacity that I can understand.
And here's the problem. That's just you.
I mean, maybe it is.
That's just you. That's not how people operate.
Like, I don't think we should be like looking at celebrities to validify our talking points. You know, like validify our ideas of like this is right, this is wrong, and you know why this is right, this is wrong? Because LeBron James said it, because Mary J. Blige said it, because Beyonce said it.
But at the same, I agree with that, but you can't deny that it is a powerful thing.
It is a powerful thing. I'm not saying it's not, but I'm saying these celebrities.
And it takes a lot to resist that and say, despite the fact that LeBron has said some stuff that I agree with, and he's done a lot of things that I agree with, him sucking up to China, I don't jive with that. Yes, and I'm able to say that.
And you know what? You don't have to agree with LeBron everything. The same way Taylor Swift came out, she was telling everyone to vote. I think Taylor Swift was from Kentucky. The same way she was telling everyone to try and get everyone to register to vote, and there was nothing wrong with that. That's an objectively good thing, getting more people to register to vote.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with those type of things, but then you figure out you disagree with Taylor Swift on one or two other things. That's fine. So as long as they're doing something that is objectively good.
So how do we get people to stop just listening? I don't know if we can get people to do it.
Man, read a damn book. You got Google, bro. Google's right there for
That's too much. You lost me at.
I lost you at Google.
At read.
I lost you at read. All right. Google. Just Google. Like open your phone.
I have to type in words.
Google should be on your homepage. You should have a little search home. You should have the search bar for Google should be on everyone's phone.
Then I need to formulate a thought.
No, it's just
and then type it in, and then hit enter, and then sift through credible sources, non-credible sources, and not just read headlines, but read actual articles. That's too much, man.
You know, your dumbass deserves to be misled. That's what it is.
But when I'm no. When enough people are misled, that could actually be a huge, like a wildly negative thing.
Just Google takes 3 seconds.
That could turn into violence,
it takes 3 seconds.
Like Black Lives Matter, we both believe that. If enough people, right, just off rip believe that, you know, they're misled to think Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization and that we're the next ISIS. I've seen people say that. If they were misled to believe that, we can't just say, all right, let your dumbass be misled. They're gonna come and fucking shoot people up, bro. They're gonna beat people up. They were threatening this dude holding a sign saying Black Lives Matter in Kentucky, I think it was. They were legit threatening his life.
I understand your point. I completely understand your point.
So what can we do?
But
I don't know if there's anything we can
do. If there were no terrorist attacks by Black Lives Matter for a couple days, you just think, hey, you know, maybe they're just not a terrorist organization.
No, but there have been people. I got into an argument on YouTube actually with this guy who said that Black Lives Matter protesters shot and killed this woman because she said all lives matter to them. I was like, well, that's wild. Like, that'd be crazy if that happened. I looked it up. They were taking a walk at 3 a.m., her and her fiance, both white, and they were frivolous with the word nigger. A group of black people overheard it and confronted them about it. Heated up, they both drew weapons. Both groups drew weapons. Things calmed down. She said all lives matter. The other group said no, Black Lives Matter. Drew weapons, yada yada, escalated. Let's calm down, put the guns away, go our separate ways. They went their separate ways. 10 minutes later, when she's walking, someone under a bridge shot and killed her and ran away. They don't know who it was. It's fair to think that it's connected to the previous altercation. But the narrative that a Black Lives Matter protester shot and killed a woman for saying all lives matter is just not true. But there's people believe in that. And so when they believe that, when they see that headline without doing what I did and reading into it, they're going to think this is a terrorist organization who's going to kill you just for expressing your opinions, when they could have shot her for any number of reasons.
I mean, yes.
A lot of things were said.
Let's say this was an instance where that was true, right? Everything you just said didn't happen. And the woman said all lives matter. The woman said all lives matter and just shot her right away.
Right? I said don't say that.
Let's just say that is
so we know for a fact that they shot her because she said all lives matter.
Yes, we know. Let's play a game, right? That's what happened. How many instances would that have to take where it's just, okay, this is a terrorist organization now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Because there's only one instance of this happening in the whole country with 330 million people.
That we know of. So you can't deny that we're in our bubble too. Maybe those negative instances, because I would have never known about that unless I got into the argument. Perhaps, that was reported on and I never knew about it.
Listen, people will be... Listen. So let's get back to the original point. Right.
What if Kanye said that? Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization. There's going to be black people who believe it. And who will believe it because Kanye said it.
But are those people just lost people? Like,
you don't want to save them? You don't want to...
Can't we just put them with the lizard people? They're lost.
We can't afford to, man.
What do you mean we can't afford to?
We can't afford to have people running around saying Harriet Tubman didn't free any slaves. That's literally changing history.
Bro. There's people right now running around thinking there's invisible lizards that live in trees that are running the world.
That's harmless, but changing history isn't.
My point is, those people are on the same Venn diagram.
Right, but their actions...
And their Venn diagram intertwines at people who cannot be saved. And I will let those
And there's people who can't be saved who just run around in the forest believing there's lizard people, and there's people who can't be saved who will kill people for having the wrong, or saying the wrong thing, or having the wrong sign in the wrong place.
If it's...
And that's all because a celebrity said something.
Those people will be set off by the next instance or whatever. Like, something's gonna set them off. If it's not this one thing, it'll be the next thing, right? If a person was gonna do this because they believed this was happening, then we're gonna, like, for example, we have the Pizzagate thing, right? If Pizzagate is real or not, that's not important. What's important is this person believes that there's child pedophilia going on in the country,
yes,
which there 100% is child pedophilia going on in this country. It needs to be stopped. So if it wasn't Pizzagate, it would be the next thing though. It would be the next place. It would be freaking Barbergate or Mallgate, and then it would be.
I would argue
this is where I'm going to do what I did at Pizzagate over there. So that's what
I would
saying.
argue that specifically for I know you're making a general example, but specifically for the Pizzagate thing, it wasn't just about pedophilia. It was about the fact that Hillary Clinton was linked to this as well, and that could have been what activated them. Because Donald Trump was always. We can talk about Donald Trump with this, bro. Look at all the damage this man has caused because of what his words are as probably the most popular person in the country right now. Not popular, the most well-known person. Like, there's no one in America, I think, who doesn't know who Donald Trump is.
Okay.
Right? And look at all the hate crimes that have been happening since his election, since his campaign and stuff like that. So because of his words and people being activated based on misconceptions, real life people are getting hurt and killed.
There is a correlation there. What I'm saying is, it would have taken Donald Trump for them to do that, or were they just going to do that anyways?
No, they wouldn't have done that.
You don't think so?
Why? No. If it was another black man as president, do you think the same thing would have happened? All those hate crimes against black and gay and trans and all these minority groups would have still happened? You think people would be driving by saying nigger this, nigger that as boldly as they are now? If it was another black man as president? I personally don't think so. And yes, correlation does not equal causation, but use your common sense.
No, I agree with like towards black or like Hispanic people. Like, for example, a lot of trans. I think the thing against trans has gone up, and I haven't seen him take a necessarily strong stance against trans.
Wasn't there the whole thing with the bathrooms like a couple years ago? Wasn't that under Trump? And how they lost rights in the military and there's a bunch of stuff happening with trans under Trump.
Yeah, maybe I'm not paying close enough attention. Maybe I'm not. So that's valid too. So you can say that, but
I don't want to classify people as lost. I'm an optimist in certain regards.
Listen, man.
There has to be something we can do.
What I'm saying is, if people are going to act that extremely, I don't think there was words said by a person that was going to make them act that way. They would just find another thing that would make them act that way. So like I'm saying,
I think it never came.
If it's not Pizzagate, it's Harborgate, it's Barbergate, it's Mallgate.
You assuming that if one conspiracy doesn't show up, another one is bound to take its place.
No, I'm saying no. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the people that are willing to take measures into their own hands will find another way.
Some of them will, but I don't think all of them will. I think some of them are just waiting for the dog whistle.
I think there's people that are just lost. You can't say everybody. There's people that are just
lost. That might be true, but
we should try to minimize the lost people.
So you're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, you're on YouTube, whatever, and you hear this person, you see this person say, Kanye is right. Harriet Tubman didn't free any slaves. What do? Do you bother getting into a discussion with them? And if you do, what do you say?
There's just some things you gotta let go, right? I'll say.
But now that person.
All I will say, if I come into this conversation, usually I'm pretty good about letting shit go online. All I will say, Harriet Tubman free slaves. Just Google it. I'm not going any back and forth with you. That's it. That's fair. That's it.
As long as there's, I feel like as long as
my input, you can believe what you want to believe.
And not only that, the people who come behind you who see this conversation now that they see two directly opposing statements, might be more skeptical to believe the first person offered if there was nothing to challenge it in the first place. And so that's why I still feel like we have a duty when we see these things to at least like you do, just put your toe in and just leave that there.
Listen, man,
just slide that in there and leave it.
I only got so many toes, fam. Only got so many toes. Can't do this forever. Cannot save everybody.
Bro,
if
you're not trying to save the people who you're talking to, but the people who come afterwards. If people are going to be this misled by celebrities without doing their research, like all I can do is give my opinion and go about my day. And watch your back.
No.
And watch your back.
I will live my life the same way I'm living right now.
Yeah, like the FedEx guy who got spit on and almost hit by a car and called a nigger because of what some celebrity said. You could potentially get run over just doing your job, possibly because you can't just say let these people go. That's the thing. It's dangerous. It's dangerous. And these celebrities have a responsibility, but so do we.
I'm fulfilling my responsibility. All right, that's all I can say to you, bro. I'm taking care of my business. Anyways, let us know what y'all think, please. All right? Should we take celebrities have this higher place in our culture where they're dictating what people believe and don't believe? That's all I'm gonna ask, right? I think that's a fair question.
That's a fair question.
If people believe now that Harriet Tubman freed no slaves because Kanye said it. Should we is that something that we should allow? That's all. Is that a
problem that we need to discuss or actually attack as a people? Or is that just like let the lost people be lost people? Should we actually attack this problem?
That's all I'm challenging y'all.
I think lives depend on it.
Hey.
Let me know what you think.
Cool. Opinion Factory Podcast. Find us on Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to share with your friends. Give the video a thumbs up.
Subscribe to the channel.
Turn your notifications on. And we will see y'all
next week. Thanks for watching.